The Iberian Peninsula is home to the lands of 5 countries: Andorra and France in the north, Portugal in the west, with Spain dominating the rest. Well, most of the rest, since country number 5, which sits in this tiny area in the south, is the United Kingdom. This territory is called Gibraltar, and despite numerous wars between the United Kingdom and Spain, Britain still holds the territory. Which raises the obvious question: why? Why does Britain own Gibraltar? So the first part of this question is, how did Britain get a hold of Gibraltar in the first place? Well, the answer to that is simple. In the year 1700, the King of Spain died. Now, normally, a king dying wouldn't be a problem, but this King Charles II didn't have any kids, which of course meant succession crisis. Charles chose Philippe of the House of Bourbon and grandson of Louis XIV of France to succeed him. This upset mostly everyone, since it placed Spain and its gargantuan empire firmly in the French sphere of influence, and so, of course, war. Everyone united against Spain and France, and in 1704, English and Dutch soldiers landed in Gibraltar and seized it to keep the mouth of the Mediterranean open. In 1713, in return for Britain leaving the war immediately, Spain opted to cede Gibraltar to them forever. Gibraltar's original population had largely fled during the war, and it was stationed by British troops, and from then on acted as an important naval base whose population grew thereafter. So Britain now owned Gibraltar, but what stopped Spain from regaining it? It was a tiny stretch of land attached to the Spanish mainland, so surely it would have been simple to walk in and take it. Well, it turns out, no. It wasn't long until Spain and Britain were back at war again, and despite laying siege to Gibraltar a further 2 times over the next 75 years, it always held out. The largest siege came during the American War for Independence, when Britain's attention was focused on those rascals. Spain, with the help of the French, laid siege to Gibraltar for 4 years, hoping to starve the people out. However, the British were able to resupply Gibraltar due to the size of their navy and Spain's issues maintaining its own. As you'll know, Britain lost the war as a whole, and so when both sides sat down to negotiate, why didn't Spain use the opportunity to regain Gibraltar? 1. Britain hadn't been conquered or crushed and could still fight, meaning Spain couldn't get everything it wanted, and 2. It had more important land to regain, notably Florida and also Minorca, both of which it got. When all of that was over in 1783, Spain never made another military attempt to retake the rock. So that's it all settled then, right? Well, no. The Spanish government always maintained a claim to Gibraltar, much of which was down to its geographic positioning at the mouth of the Mediterranean, and also because its continued loss was seen as a blight on Spain's national honour. For the next century and a half, though, very little changed with respect to Gibraltar. That was until 1936, when the Spanish Civil War broke out. The border was closed, mostly because of there being too many refugees trying to flee Spain, and Britain further built up Gibraltar's defences. This caused disputes with Spanish leadership, since previously there had been an agreed neutral zone between the 2 areas. However, Spain wasn't looking, and so Britain quickly built up an airfield there, which became useful when World War II broke out. Now, Spain's new leader, Francisco Franco, was clear that he wanted Gibraltar back. However, when he was offered the chance to get it back by joining the Axis in World War II with Germany, he declined. Franco said no because the positives didn't outweigh the negatives, and also his country was in ruins. In the post-war world, there was a big drive towards decolonization, and Gibraltar was firmly in the crosshairs of this movement. A referendum was held in Gibraltar to determine whether the people wished to be a part of Spain or remain an overseas territory of the United Kingdom, and the results were extremely close, with over 99% of people opting to remain under the control of the United Kingdom. When Franco caught a mild case of death and his regime came to an end, relations between Britain and Spain improved, and after a series of negotiations, the border reopened. And despite the continuing dispute over the status of Gibraltar, there would be no further changes in its status, and to this day it remains